Hello YouTube, this is Richard from Gold Game Studios once again. Today we'll be talking about variables. So let's start up our IDE update. I've got dev C++ now instead of code blocks. So let's start with the coding. Today we'll be learning about variables as I've said. So let's create a new project, an empty one. Let's go to desktop, make a new folder since you'll just delete this later. In project1.dev, then add a new source file, add a new file to the current project, and yes. So today I'll be talking about int, char, float, and string. I'll start with int. So first let's include our libraries. If you don't know how to do this, I'd suggest watching my previous videos. So here we initialize the main. So let's start by declaring an integer, let's say integer x. Now let's give a value to integer x. Integer x is equal to 15. You can do either a long or short integer. Basically it's long for high numbers and short for very low numbers. So if you're doing millions, do long, or if you're doing short numbers, do short. So let's see out this output. I've explained this before. If you don't know what it is, go back to my previous tutorials. Now if you want to output the value of x, simply do cout, two less than signs, then x. See how simple that is? Then we do two quotations. Inside the quotation we do space is the integer, then end the line. Now in code blocks you don't need to pause it. I don't know why, but here you do. So system, then pause. Now once you've done that, do return 0. So here we go. Let's compile and run it, or build and run it. Here we go. 15 is the integer. Now let's try to get to output the value of x without a defined or given value, the x. Watch. 2 is the integer. See? I don't know why that is, but I guess it's because there's 1x here and 1x here. That's why it gives it a random, or the value of 2. So there are two x's declared in int main. I'll teach you next time how to generate a random value. So let's move on to before we move on to float, I'd like to point out that x cannot do decimals. Watch. 15.75. Watch, it won't do anything. It will output 15 but not the 0.75. Now this is where the float comes in. Float can do decimals, so it's like an integer with decimals. 15.75. Now let's just do cout as we did before, just like x, except let's replace it with k, then quotation, space inside the quotation, then is the float, end the line. Let's compile and run, or build and run. Here we go. So 15 is the integer and 15.75 is the float. So once we're done with that, go up here, see this. Now let's talk about char. Char is an ASCII number. I'm not sure what that really stands for, but I don't even use char because it's so weird. Watch, let's give value of w to char. Let's give it Yeah, 15. I like the number 15. So let's see out car or W. Then just do the same process is the car. Car gives you weird symbols to watch. See, as I've said, a weird symbol for 15. This is the O thing. See? So let's talk about string. We used this in our previous tutorial. String name. Excuse me. In this tutorial, I'll be explaining what that means. So cin, as we did before, this name. To make it a lot nicer, we do space here, then cout what is your name, but we don't do an end line, we just end it with this. We don't do an end L. And then once we're done with that, we do cout, oops, cout name tildes, then is your name. That's great. And end the line. So let's build and run it. So we go. See, that's because we didn't end the line. So the next line would be directly after. So let's put in the name Richard. Richard is your name. That's great. Now see, string name can't do two if it's spaced. Watch. Google.com. See, it doesn't do the com, so that's one of the setbacks. Google's your name. That's great. So that's basically it for today. Tune in for my next video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.